Swift and Tips podcast.
Well, I just have one question about your experience with SwiftLeeds. So you mentioned that you got accepted for one, and then you applied next year, and you got rejected. What would you say was the difference for being accepted or not? I mean, any suggestions or any idea why you think your other uh, proposal was accepted and the other not didn't?
So I know that at SwiftLeeds they do a blinded review process. So they don't take yourself into consideration. They only take your talk title and your description into consideration.
Mhm.
So I thought that my first talk got accepted because Peter Friese suggested me to go to SwiftLeeds the year before that, and he talked to Adam, the organizer, about it, and I thought that was the reason. But actually, turns out that it's a blended process, and I didn't even know that
Okay,
I wrote the proposal. So,
nice.
but yeah, but what's the main difference? I mean, I don't know their criteria for judging the proposals. I
Mhm.
can only guess. But
Yeah.
the ones that got rejected were all technical topics, where I said I'm
Okay.
going to explore AR development for Vision
Mhm.
Pro, for example. That was one of the proposals that I had, how it compares to
Mhm.
AR development for iOS. Then
Okay.
another one was about Widget Kit, how you develop interactive widgets, live activities, all of the Widget Kit stuff, including all of the new stuff, also
Mhm.
got rejected. And the talk that got accepted was a very personal one, where I just talked about my story. And
Okay.
I'm not gonna recommend for everyone to just talk about their story, because then we would have a conference without too much iOS content, and everyone would just talk about their personal life. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
but I think the difference is that it's different. I think the difference is that it's not one of 100 technical proposals. It was the only personal proposal. 99 people handed in a technical proposal about, I don't know, animations in Swift UI and tips to go indie and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
perhaps I was the only one who did a personal story and told my own story. And I think that probably was one of the reasons why it got accepted. No,
Wow,
different
that's good.
conferences might have different reasons, different
Mhm.
criteria, and different processes. But that's my experience so far. And I mean, I'm not too good at it, obviously, because I handed in 5 proposals and 4 got rejected.
Okay.
And only one was accepted. But I mean, that's the main difference between all of them. The accepted one was personal.
Yeah, I will take it. I mean, being different is one of the things, and yeah,
Yeah,
like you said, I mean, we have many ways. I mean, I think those guys receive dozens of the same topics
yeah,
over and over. So I mean, they will pick the first one the best of them according to their criteria. But yeah, that's a good one. So having a differentiation of or I mean,
exactly.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. You have to find the thing that's weird about you, right? The thing that differentiates you from all the other people. So
Yeah,
if you're working at Apple, of course, that's also a big advantage to getting
absolutely.
getting accepted at a conference. I mean, who works at Apple and applies for a conference? Practically no one does. Compared to the majority of iOS developers. So if you do decide to do that, it's probably relatively easy to get your proposal accepted. But not everyone works at Apple, but everyone has some differentiator. So for me, it might have been my story. For someone else, it might have been their experience not only in iOS development, but also in Android development, and talking about the
Mhm.
differences between the two. Find, I think you have to find a thing that makes you different.
You just gave me an idea for a conference talk now. I will talk to you later about it. But yeah, that's a good one. Thanks.
Sounds
Thanks for sharing.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think in the end, conferences aren't just about learning. You know, I the one that I spoke at was my first conference ever, not just my first iOS conference. It was the first conference I ever went to, so I had no idea of what to expect. So I thought that I would go in there and learn about all these new APIs and all these new patterns and stuff like that. But in the end, I talked to a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I think that's what the conference is mainly about. It's not, I mean, of course, you also learn new things, but it's to get inspired, to talk to people, to get motivated. And that's why I think that the conference talk also has to have a part of you in the talk.
Yeah.
It's not just about the technical concept that you're talking about. And that's probably the differentiator between the good talks and the not so good talks. The not so good talks, they only care about SwiftUI animations. But they don't add their own flair to it. They don't add their own story. I think the good talks, they incorporate it with their own story, and they talk about how they learned about animations, why they loved animations, perhaps because they played some games as a child or whatever. I think that's what makes a good conference talk, and a good YouTube video as well.
Yeah,